I've never built a PC before, so what better way to start than with nearly no money and purchasing mostly untested parts from strangers on the internet. In this video, I gave myself a budget of only $300 to see if it is possible to build a functioning entry-level gaming PC with used parts off of Facebook Marketplace. Let's find out together if this was just a huge waste of time and money, or if it is some sort of cheat code, life hack, or matrix glitch.
ATL Resell Guy.
So given that it's typically the most expensive portion of any gaming PC, I went ahead and shopped hard for graphics cards. There wasn't what I would say a good deal really on anything, but I knew that the graphics card was really going to determine what else I would have money for and what I could spend on any of the other components. And I ultimately found this MSI RX 5600 XT, which in terms of performance is pretty close to the 2060, just under. So I went ahead and purchased this for $80, which I found to be a pretty good deal at the time. Again, I have not tested anything. All in all, it looks like it's in decent condition. This is kicking it off, the RX 5600 XT for $80. So now that I secured a graphics card, the next thing I was looking for were motherboards and CPUs. So I contacted a bunch of sellers, but the prices, unfortunately, for used motherboards weren't great. I did locate a guy who had a Asus B550, which is kind of just like a base board that you can do a lot with. Unfortunately, when I contacted him, he said it had sold, but what he did tell me is that he had the CPU left over. And I said, that's fine with me. I asked him what it was. Ryzen 7 3700X, which is a decent CPU, I would say. He said it worked fine. He pulled it out of the board that he sold, and both of them performed great. So we've got our Ryzen 7 3700X. And this is going to be our CPU for the build. I spent $50 on this, which I thought was a pretty good deal. We spent $130, and we've got pretty much the two most expensive components of the build. So let's keep going and look at what else we found. So at this point now I knew that I needed a motherboard that had an AMD socket. So eventually I did come across a listing. It was a motherboard that had the AMD socket, a case as well, and some fans. So I messaged the seller, asked him what he wanted for it. He said $50. I said, yes, let me come over and get it. So here's what I consider to be a fairly nice Omen gaming PC case. It's got the glass, it's got the motherboard inside, two Noctua fans, as well as the fans that come with the case itself. It's got a lot of cabling in there. It's got a heat sink for the CPU with a cooler fan. So for $50, this whole package here, this was a no-brainer. And I think it looks pretty good. I think this is going to be a great house. $50 on my case, $50 on my CPU, and $80 on my GPU. So now we're in $180. I've got $120 remaining to get RAM, some storage, possibly an SSD, and a power supply for this. With what I considered a healthy budget remaining and only 3 components to get, I went ahead and ordered this WD SN770 500 gigabyte M.2 PCIe SSD. I got this from Best Buy for $53 shipped to me. I also did end up buying some RAM. I bought the Corsair Vengeance 16 gigabytes of RAM. I paid $33 for it off Amazon shipped. So I spent $80 on the GPU, $50 on the CPU, $50 on the case, the motherboard, the fans, $53 on the SSD, and $34, I believe, on the original RAM that I ended up returning. The reason why I did that is because I located a deal on Facebook Marketplace for my next PSU. So the guy had the listing up for $70. It was a case, a power supply, some RAM. It looked like it was just a mess, just thrown together, something in a closet that's been sitting for a while. I contacted the guy. I asked him, hey, I only need the PSU. I'm putting together a build. Would you be willing to just sell the power supply? He was like, yeah, man, I got you, 20 bucks. This is a Corsair 850 watt power supply, semi-modular, but it has everything that I need. So we set a time to meet up. He wasn't able to meet up that night, it's fine, but he didn't flake out. He was very communicative incentive. He's like, for the trouble, I'm just going to give you everything, the case, everything inside, and you can have it for free. I'm like, no, dude, let me just pay you the $20. When I secured the package, it was a pleasant surprise. Let's look at it now. So here's what I ended up getting from him. It's some kind of case called Cougar. Well, let's get into it and show you what it has. First and foremost, Corsair HX 850 watt. That's way overkill for the RX 5600 XT, but hey, it leaves us room for improvement down the line if I do ever want to mix up this build and put a different GPU in it. And I had asked him about this RAM. He said he thought it was DDR3. He wasn't sure about the amount of gigabytes that it had. Got two Vengeance LPX DDR4. These are each 16 gigabyte. This doubles the RAM that I had. And I got this whole thing for $20. Another set of RAM too. Ballistics Sport. These are 8 gigabytes each. These can be spares for maybe like a test bench down the line or something. This is a great deal for $20. Super happy with this. And it was a game changer because now I can use this RAM, return my other, get the money back that I paid Amazon because it's within the return window. And I've got more money for the budget and I can potentially switch something up, which is what I ended up doing actually. I found this GTX 1080 Ti listed on Facebook Marketplace for $150. In the listing, the guy even put up some gameplay of him using the card and how smooth it runs. He put up a benchmark in there as well. And man, the performance boost from the 5600 XT to this is night and day. I asked him if he would accept $125. He was willing to do that. We met today and I picked this thing up. That leaves, I think, $1 remaining in the $300 initial budget. This thing performs more like a 3060 rather than a 2060. So I'm getting a huge boost in performance. And with this, I'm actually going to be able to do 1440p gaming instead of the 1080 like I initially set out to do. This is the first PC that I've ever built from the ground up. So that's going to be an experience. And that's going to be something that we do in the next video. I'm going to build this thing out, test all these components, make sure that they work, and most importantly of all, see if it is possible to build a pretty decent gaming PC for under $300. Let's go. I'll see you guys in the next video. ATL Resale Guys signing out. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. If you haven't already, check above to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And if you'd like to enjoy more content like this, hit the links below to other videos.